When it comes to the topic of orcs, there is almost always someone in the comment section who asks a question about the Krork. And it's interesting because it seems like most people believe that the Krork were a separate species than the modern day orc, and they're not. It makes sense that people don't recognize the Krork as orcs because when they were described in the lore, they don't match up with the modern description of a greenskin, what we all really understand and know to be an orc. The orcs themselves describe these ancient warriors almost like a separate class of orc, referring to them as brain boys. But in reality, the Krork are just highly intelligent, physically monstrous, and well-disciplined orcs. There is really no easy way to explain the Krork without understanding the war in heaven and the origin of the species as a whole. And so if you're new to this topic, I recommend you check out our 40 Facts and Lore on the Brain Boy or the Krork. I will link it up above. Go watch that and then come back to this video so we can answer the very popular question, what if the Krork returned to Warhammer 40K? The topic to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. If you're new to the channel, allow me to introduce myself. I am your host Gersh1, your guide through the grimdark universe of Warhammer 40,000. For this entire month, the Sound Alchemist and I will be creating videos exploring the different what-if scenarios of the 40K universe. So subscribe to the channel if you want to catch the entire series, and if you like this new style of lore video, please click the like button, and if you can, send us over a super thanks to support the channel. But with that said, let's answer the question, what if the Krork returned? The first thing I want to do is describe a Krork based on the few scattered tales of these monsters of ancient myth. Standing at about 12 meters tall, which is equivalent to a 3-story building, these warriors were massive. It is said that they rivaled the size and strength of small orc gargants. The simple size alone meant that these xeno-giants were stronger than even the toughest greenskin warboss or warlord. I'm telling you, not even Godschool Magorok Thraka could get to this size. In comparison, only the tallest Imperial Knights can stand eye to eye with these giants. And like Imperial Knights, the Krork were decked out in armor, more advanced than that of a Space Marines. Now their armor and war gear doesn't exist anymore. Only the descriptions of a properly designed mechanized exoskeleton that allowed each Krork to increase their strength and make them as impervious as an Imperial Titan. They also possess weapons of mass destruction, very similar to the devastating powers of the modern-day orc arsenal. However, these Krork knew exactly how to build and use them without any flaw. Unlike modern mechs, whose weapons and war gear, yes, can be made by instinct, but it's usually a hit or miss whether it works on the right target. This brings us to the minds of the Krork, which were well honed and developed. They were much more intelligent than modern orcs. They more than likely had an advanced vocabulary to help them communicate complex war strategies and combat doctrines way better than what we hear the orcs speak today. Just guttural grunts and roars. Just like the modern orc, these creatures were created for war and war only. They lived to fight, not to the standard greenskin war tactics. These Krork could execute crusades that would be the envy of the most military-minded Blood Axe warboss and could outshine even the most calculating maneuvers of a Space Marine chapter master. That's how good they were. Now, the Krork also had the ability to uniquely manipulate psychic energy. After all, they were created by the Old Ones as a psychically powerful warrior race, as we talked about in the origin story that I told you to watch before this video. This enhanced psychic power gave the Krork similar abilities to that of a Space Marine librarian or any other psyker. They were capable of vaporizing the enemies by projecting greenish fire and entering the minds of a psychically powerful creature. This power was what the modern orcs call Wog energy. But again, unlike modern orc weird boys, the Krork had a deeper understanding of the etheric powers of the warp. This allowed them to use this gathered psychic power to fuel their society. Using it as an energy source, the Krork built all manner of technologies that utilized Wog energy, a technique seen on the orc-controlled empire of Olenor during the Great Crusade, and later during the invasion of the Beast. Technologies beyond the capabilities of modern orcs, and things that would baffle the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Krork were truly a perfect warrior race. They had to be, because they were created to fight the Necron Empire. Not the Necron dynasties that we're all familiar with, the Necron Empire of the War in Heaven, that was unified and led by the Catan, and that's why the Krork were basically Blood Axe orcs on steroids and whatever drug Bradley Cooper took in the movie Limitless. Highly complex and powerful warriors that were fighting star gods and their undead robot armies. Not the modern-day greenskins that fight with each other more than they fight with anyone else. Now that we have a solid understanding of what a Krork is, let's talk about a Krork invasion of the galaxy. What if they came back? In my opinion, they would overpower the Imperium of Man. We know this because of a smaller version of a Krork campaign that almost overtook Terra. The entire story of The Beast Arises is the telling of an Orc invasion led by the closest thing we have ever seen to a Krork, the Beast and his lieutenants. The Beast was smaller, and not really a true Krork, but his strength, intelligence, and expertise managed to destroy countless Imperial worlds, killed trillions upon trillions of people, cut down an entire first founding chapter to a single battle brother, the Imperial Fists, and assaulted humanity's most guarded planet, Terra. The Imperium would require the return of the Primarchs and the intervention of the Emperor himself in order to stop a full Krork invasion, and even then the Krorks have a strong chance of winning. Sadly, humanity tends to underestimate the Orcs, and accepting the fact that an Orc invasion is strong enough to get to Terra would allow the Krork to piecemeal Imperial strongholds, slowly getting stronger and gathering more and more Orcs, like a typical Orc invasion. Moving on, they would be devastating to the aliens that were created to destroy, the Necrons, seeing that the dynasties are old, separated, and dilapidated, all of which no longer led by the almost infinitely powerful star gods known as Catan. And I'm pretty sure that the Necrons would know this, seeing that the Krork were highly respected and feared for their martial abilities during the War in Heaven. Trazen the Infinite even has the remains of a Krork warrior, where the majority of the known description of these monsters comes from. When it comes to the Eldar, the Krork would more than likely hunt down this dying race. Just like the Eldari, it's safe to assume that the Krork had to have been given some instruction on the use of webways by the Old Ones, and so hiding from the Krork would be difficult for the Eldar. Fixed locations like the Dark City of Kamra would more than likely be invaded and destroyed. The massive craft worlds would be chased down and eradicated, and the Harlequins and Exodites wouldn't even be able to realistically hurt a full Krork crusade. Now, I do see the Tyranids being a big challenge for the Krork. After all, we don't really know how many hive fleets are still out there, and both factions fight wars that don't give them a solid upper hand. The Tyranids are highly adaptable, and fighting these monsters might just make them more devastating. It's not like the hive mind hasn't come across a highly aggressive and tactically sound warrior race before, so fighting them would be difficult. And I think Chaos is also a big challenge for the Krork, as we don't really know what the Chaos Gods could do to the Wog energy. They already manipulate and harm weird boys, turning their minds into warp portals for their demon incursions, so a psychically powerful Krork Empire might be easy prey for Chaos. But then again, so are the Eldar, and they are able to keep Slaanesh at bay. My mind runs wild with the idea of the Krork manifesting and birthing the Chaos God Krork and Mork finally in the warp. They would be able to grow their numbers to make this happen, but again, it's all pure speculation. And I'm not even going to bother mentioning anything about the Tau Empire. Let's face it, they already struggle with regular Orc Wogs, so a true Krork invasion would exterminate them once and for all. Now, if you want a deeper understanding of how the Krork could take over the galaxy, I recommend you check out our video that I will link above on the Orc conquest of the entire galaxy. You kind of get a snapshot of how the Orcs could do it, and led by the Krork, it would just be a lot easier for them to take over. Now, the scenario I see happening that would bring back the Krork, because let's face it, the Krork devolved into the Orcs, and Orcs is what we have, and that's all we're ever going to have, is a small Krork fleet somehow entering the warp, and through sheer bad luck, traveling through time from the era of the War in Heaven to the modern era. Time travel in the warp is common. These Krork would have no problem gathering a massive Orc Wog, seeing that they are the size and strength of a Stampa, and cultivating a society that would slowly generate more of their kind. The only worry would be that the Krork would have to be constantly proving their strength against the devolved Orcs. But if the Beast was able to placate his Orcs, a full fleet of Krork could do the same. Also, the Krork war leaders would be the target of any defending enemy force that knows what's happening, and that comes with a series of issues that are tied to the explanation of why the Krork went away and why they devolved into the Orcs. But that's a topic for another video that I will more than likely create sometime this week while it's fresh in everyone's minds. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's what if scenario video. If you guys have anything to add, please comment down in the comment section below. Any suggestions for these series, let me know what they are, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more 40K content. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for the super thanks, and we will talk in the comment section below. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.
to put my freedom first. In